You are tuned into Lady Bird Live. I am an activist and motivational speaker whose purpose is to spread the awareness of HIV. This podcast is about the education of HIV and AIDS and other STDs that people are afraid to discuss and address. So sit back, relax, and prepare to be educated. For this episode, I wanted to talk about the first time that I saw him after what 14, 15 years. This would have been August 2022. So August 2022, I ended up getting a letter in the mail saying that I needed to either, I had a court date in Greenville, South Carolina for child support because, I had the twins. He's on child support. And I had not received child support in over a year at that point. I don't know if he wasn't working, whatever. Don't know. But I know I had not received child support in over a year. So that means he was in contempt of court. They sent me the letter with the date. It was a weekday. And the letter specifically made it known that, if you don't show up to this court date, whatever decision is made at this court date is what is going to stand. Now, me being the type of person I am, and most of you know, I am a true advocate, not just for myself, but for my children as well. And so when I saw this, I let my mom know. I say, listen, I know this isn't a weekday. I know it might not be the easiest thing to, try to get the kids to school or do different things with the kids during the weekday by yourself. I say, but I really need to go to this court date. I say, because if I don't go and a decision is made, I won't have input in whatever that decision making is. And so she said, okay, she understood. And sorry, I'm yawning, tired. And so she understood and she was like, okay, I got him. So my oldest daughter at the time, she um, had just turned 19. Well, no, she was getting ready to turn 19. And so she was like, I'll ride with you. And we left literally, we had to be there at 8 a.m. Court started at 8 a.m. And so we left at 1 a.m. in the morning. And I got there about 45 minutes, I say 40, 30, maybe 45 minutes to an hour before it was time, to get there. So once I started um, noticing people pulling up, and then as it got closer to 8 o'clock, people start getting in line, I say, okay, you know what, let's go ahead and get out and go get in line. So we did that. And as we're standing in line, we're just talking and all these things, and they come out and they let us know, okay, you can't take cell phones inside. So I had to go take my cell phone. My daughter had to take her cell phone back to the car. We're standing in line. Now, let me tell you, things happen and you meet people in some of the strangest ways, okay? Um, and so we are here, we're in line, and there's this guy that's standing in line near us, and he's like, well, I got dropped off. I don't have anywhere to put my cell phone. He was like, I mean, I could go over here and put it in the bushes and hope nobody steal it, And I looked at my oldest daughter. She looked at me. She was like, yeah, let's. And so I went up to him. I say, you don't know me. I say, but if you don't mind, I don't mind putting your phone in my vehicle, you know, so that you have somewhere to put it, and I let him know, hey, I'm not from here. I'm not going to steal your phone, just having a comment. He laughs. It's like, oh, no, I don't mind. No, I don't mind. So we, took his phone, our phones, we put them in the car. And so we go inside. Now, before we go inside, as we're standing in line, there's this glass window. So there's a glass window, and you can see the people in the line behind you if you look over in the glass window without um, actually turning around and looking back. So as I'm looking in the glass window, I see him and her um, get in line. Now, when I say her, I'm talking about the woman who, while we were married, he was having a relationship with, having sex with, and got pregnant. Um, the woman who, when he went to prison, she still drove from South Carolina to Florida to see him in prison. She stayed with him. She stuck by him. Listen, I guess I don't know. Love is blind and it make you stupid. I guess I don't know. But she was there with him. Now, my first thought was, why? Why is she with him? That way I said a cuss word. I ain't even gonna lie. I said a cuss word. But my first thought was, why is she with him? Are you coming to help him pay some child support? Like, my thought process at this point is like, why are you here? Like, not only that I gotta see his face, but now I gotta look at your face too. I mean, the stuff that happened between me and him was already bad enough, but now I gotta see the face of somebody who also added to the situation. So when we got inside, I went to the bathroom and I just looked in the mirror. I put some water on my face. I looked in the mirror. I said, listen, Renee, just stay calm, because I could feel myself having an attitude. I can feel the Taurus in me coming out. I can feel the anger and the rage. I can feel that moment just coming back to me, and I had to just pull it back. I had to just say, you know what? Woo sa. Okay? And so that's what I did. I had that woo sa moment. I said, okay, here we go. And I go where we need to go. My daughter's with me. And we sitting down. The guy who we met outside, he's still there. We sitting there. We just chit chatting. He was cool. Like, even now, here we are. 2 years, almost 2 years later, and he and I are still friends. Like, we exchange numbers, everything. Um, and he's been a great friend. And so we're sitting here. They calling our names and stuff. And they get to my name, and I get up, and my oldest daughter gets up. He gets up. She get up. They let us know, only the parties involved can come to the back. My first thought was, I know why me and my daughter getting up. Number one, she's my child. You know, I'm not even me thinking, okay, she's an adult or whatever, but just the thought process, okay, I know why she's getting up and coming with me, but why is this woman getting up and coming back here with you? She don't need to come back here with you. Okay. So her and my daughter had to go back and sit down in the waiting room while he and I went in the back. So we get back there, and this is the first time that I am seeing him um since his sentencing hearing in 2008. Since 2008, September 2008 was when he was sentenced to prison. And this is the first time that I'm seeing him face to face, being in that close of a proximity to him ever in all that time. So we're sitting in this small room at this round table with the mediator, and she's, explaining to him, you're here because you're in contempt of court. You haven't paid child support, and we sent you a letter telling you that you need to pay X amount of dollars. And, he explains whatever to her, says he just started a job, and, you know, um, he don't get his first paycheck until the first of the month, first of September. So she said, well, how much can you bring in on the 1st of September? He gives her this amount, which was not the amount that was on that paper. The amount that was on the paper was a different amount. And she looks at me and she says, well, are you okay with that? And I look at her. And again, I never once ever, this whole time, I never gave him eye contact. I never looked this direction. I only gave my focus to the mediator. And I said to her, I said, No, it's not acceptable. I say, I have not received child support in over a year for not just one child, but for two children. And you want to tell me that you want to allow him to pay less, almost less than half of what you said on this paper? No, 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 no. And so she tells him at that point, well, um, give me a moment. She steps out of the room. So now we are both sitting here in this room by ourselves. Again, I never give him eye contact. I ain't flinch. I ain't nothing. I didn't look his way. I left my focus to whatever object that I focused on at the time that was not in his direction. And so she comes back in. Oh, excuse me. Yarning again. Did I make you yarn? So she comes back in and she says to him, well, okay, so this is the amount that we're going to need you to bring back in on the 1st of September. And he gives this excuse as to this, and this. Well, I guess I have to borrow from someone. And she said, well, she said, honestly, I can't tell you how or what to do. All I can do is tell you this is the amount. This is when it needs to be here. And if we don't get this amount on this date, then we're going to find you in contempt of court. And so that was that situation. And, um, you know, and I went back pretty early. So we got there at 8. I think I was back. I think our case was probably um, closer to 9. It was way before. It was before 10 o'clock. So the guy whose cell phone that I had, um, I even said to him, I say, well, since I'm already done, I don't mind waiting because I had just did that drive. I was like, I want to give myself time before I get back on the road anyway. So I say, well, I can just wait until you get called back. And then once you're done, we could go out so you can have your cell phone and you won't have to worry about where your cell phone's at. So that's what we did. Now, as we're sitting here, my oldest daughter, she loves to read. She's an avid reader. And so there's another young lady and her partner that's sitting next to us. And so she notices the book that my daughter's reading and they start sparking up a conversation. They start talking. And my oldest daughter, she loves her mommy, okay? She don't care about telling nobody, oh yeah, my mom's famous. My mom is an advocate. Oh man, you got to let her tell you her story. Like, this is my oldest daughter. She loves um to tell people about how amazing her mom is. That's how she puts it. And so she's like, "Ma, sit right here. Tell her what happened." And I'm like, "What?" It caught me off guard because I didn't know that were even having that type of conversation. And so I switched seats with my daughter and I sit next to the young lady and we're just talking and I'm telling her the story and her mouth, like the whole time I'm sitting there talking to her, her eyes are big and her mouth is wide open because she's shocked at what I'm saying. And then, when I finish, it's almost as if she has a tear that's getting ready to come out of her eye. And she says to me, "Oh my God." I was like, "What?" She's like, "I know her," because I'm explaining to her one of the situations with my ex-husband where he had been sleeping with one of the supervisors on his job. And she found out that she was HIV positive and had to tell her boyfriend, who she was with at the time. Her boyfriend, in return, could not accept that information, got tested himself, had possibly tested positive, but he turned around and he killed her. He unalived her. And this happened Mother's Day of 2008. Mother's Day 2008. It happened. And she was like, "I know her. I know her whole family." She was like, she said, "You just put the pieces of the puzzle that I could not figure out," because they knew that he had done this to her. I mean, he turned himself in. The guy who unalived her, he turned himself in, so everybody knew who he was. She said, "You put the pieces to the puzzle because we knew he did it, but nobody could never really understand why he did it. Something what took place. She was like all of a sudden she was this lively person, and then something happened and she secluded off. She didn't want to talk to people. You call, she didn't answer. You go to her house, she didn't answer the door. She just went to work, came home. And when I'm explaining her this stuff in the story and her eyes are wide and her mouth is open, it's because I'm putting the pieces to the puzzle that she had been missing, and it's all making sense for her, you know. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a small freaking world. I say, well, so the guy that you see, that you saw me walk up when they called my name to go in the back, that's who, that is him. That's who infected her and me and all of that. And she was just in such shock. Um and so me and her also became friends then and exchanged information, and we've still been in contact. It's just been one of those moments. That time right there was one of those moments, like I really almost felt like I kind of had like a out of body surreal experience, and I'm saying it in a sense of, you know, I was so I allowed myself to be so peaceful in that day. You know, I'm going on this road trip, me and my oldest daughter. It's 1 in the morning. We driving. The whole trip there, she sleeps. So I'm listening to my music. I'm getting in the mood. I'm looking at the sunrise as I'm driving, different things. And then we get there. I'm confronted with a demon that I had not faced in years, and I was able to see his face to get through that moment. No matter how much anger was trying to fester up inside me, I was still able to get through that moment and push through. Um, but I also took away from that friendship. I met two amazing people that day. On the ride back home, my daughter was like, "Ma, can we go like through the little towns and roads, the little back roads?" So I got on my GPS and I put it in the map. I say, "Well, I know which way to go, but let's just make sure, because I've went that way before." So I put it in. We driving. We went through. We saw the sceneries. We you know, the old towns we rode through. You got to go ride through 65, 70. Then all of a sudden, oh, you better go 35 miles per hour. We went through those different towns. We stopped at little mom and pop store and got snacks and stuff. Um, Went to one place, had to use the bathroom. Couldn't use it because somebody was in the bathroom so long. I was like, oh, we got to go. We got to hurry get to the next stop. It was crazy. But it was a fun thing, and it left me with this. And I want to leave this with you all. Um, sometimes sometimes you're gonna have to face what you don't ever expect that you'll have to face. And I'm saying, you know, I knew at some point I was gonna have to face him and see him in person, whether it was through court or any something. At some point I had a feeling, but I faced it. I walked into that situation afraid, but I left out of that situation with my head held high, with my confidence in place and intact, knowing that I was doing the right thing. I've always done the right thing. Throughout this whole situation, this ordeal, I've always done the right thing. I was the one who would go and get tested every year, not because I was having, nonstop sex and different things, because it was a part of my natural routine. I was a medical assistant and a phlebotomist. I drew blood all the time for patients. So I just always wanted to make sure that I was okay, you know, for my health, for my knowledge, and so I've always done that routinely. And so it was just, one of those moments where I had to face what I never thought I would have to face. Or what I thought I didn't think I was ready. Maybe I was at a point where I didn't know if I was ready to face him. You know, you have those moments where it's like, oh man, well, here we go. And it's weird because the whole ride there, I don't even think I thought about it. I think as I got closer or as the time crept up, and then once I saw he got in line and he was standing there too, and oh yeah, he showed up too, my heart is racing, my heart is pounding. Because of course he doesn't know if I'm showing up or not. But it was just one of those heart racing and pounding moments. But it felt so amazing to be that advocate for my kids and to step up and just, be there. Never allow anyone to be a voice for you. Be your own voice. Never let anyone tell your story but you. Never allow anyone to steal your confidence, to take you out of your safe place that you've put yourself in. If you have a safe place or a safe mindset or a safe thought, don't ever let anybody take that away from you. It's yours. Your life is yours. You control it. Nobody controls your actions or your emotions but you. And those are the things that I want you to take away from this episode today. I hope that I was able, through sharing this experience, reach someone. Whether it's just because you needed a laugh, because listen, I had to push through this one with a little yawning. But I definitely appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody who supports me, whether it's looking at me on Facebook Live, um, you know, looking at this on YouTube, or listening to the podcast when I share it out. Whether you've bought a book, whatever it is, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. And I will talk to you again on next week.
Hope you enjoyed today's show. Don't forget, you can visit my website, ladybirdofficial.com, for more information or to schedule a one-on-one session. Until next time, bye.